So resuming from Sri Harinamamrit Vyakanam, Samasa prakaranam. So Samasa Vakyam Vigraha. So the declined words of the Samasa are called Vigraha. I was reading about this in, here. Okay. So here, this is some Sanskrit primer. So derivation of a word is called Vyutpatti. So Vyutpatti means like the process of derivation and declension. And then the third sentence says a sentence which grammatically explains a derived word, which is a Vishnupada. So that is called a Vigraha. This is like a very basic explanation of Vigraha. So a sentence which grammatically explains uh, a Vishnupada is, or let's say a Samasa in this context. So that's a Vigraha. So Samas Vakyam Vigraha. So this sutra means Samasasya Arthakatana Rupam Yad Vakyam Prayujyate Saeva Vigraha Uchate. So the sentence Vakya or clause which is used to explain the meaning of the Samasa is called the Vigraha. Yeah, the same thing. The sentence which is used to explain the meaning of Samasa. Some call it the Vyasa Vakya, the words of the separation, Vyasa. Um, Vyasa also means like expansion, right? Vyasa. So hmm, the word Vigraha is found. Okay, so that's Sankshodhani says Siddhant Kaumuti gives a similar definition of the word Vigraha. Vrityartha avabodhakam vakyam Vigraha. The words Vakya which explain the meaning of the Samasa are called the Vigraha. Thus, Vigraha is sometimes translated as the analysis. Analysis. Vigraha also means separation. Um, Thus, the dictionary of grammar defines Vigraha as the separation of the constituent words of a compound word. Right. So, Samasa means compound word or a compound word, and when we separate the words of the compound, so that's like the separation. That's the Vigraha. So that's also one meaning. In this regard, um, yeah. सूत्रे तृतीयान्तेन प्रथमान्तं समस्यते तच्च पूर्वम्. In a Samas Sutra, the word that ends in the Prathama Vishnu Bhakti is compounded with the word that ends in the Tritiya Vishnu Bhakti. So here, this is a pattern mentioned here, which will be followed in this chapter. So the word ending with Prathama Vishnu Bhakti will be compounded with a Trityanta Vishnu Bhakti word, a word ending with Tritiya Vishnu. And the word that ends in Prathama Vishnu Bhakti is placed first in the compound. It is placed first in the compound. So this sutra means Samasa Vidhana Sutre Tridyantena Saha Prathamantam Padam Samasyate iti Sarvatra eva Gnayam Tacha Purvam Nipatyam. In a sutra which ordains Samasa, the word that ends in the Prathama Vishnu Bhakti is compounded with the word that ends in Tritiya Vishnu Bhakti. This should be understood in all instances. And the word that ends in the Prathama Vishnu Bhakti is placed uh, first. Okay, so this is now entering into Tatra Samasa Vishesha Yatha. So now different kinds of compounds will be described now. So Visheshanam Tulyadhikaranena. Visheshanam Tulyadhikaranena. A Visheshana is a compound or a Visheshana. Now here, if you see, Visheshana is in Prathama Vishnu Bhakti, and this Tulyadhikaranena is in Tritiya. So a Visheshana uh, is compounded with a word which has the same adhikarana. The same adhikarana is the Tulya adhikarana, and that's also called the Saman adhikarana, which we had read in the second chapter, Vishesha Visheshana Viveka, that section. So a Visheshana is compounded with a word which has the same adhikarana, and the compound so formed is called the Shyam Ram Samasa. So this Shyam Ram Samasa is which one? It's the
The
Karmadharya.
adjective before the noun.
Yeah, the Karmadharya Samasa. So this is adjective as a Purvapada, and this is Karmadharaya, Shyam Ram. So a Visheshana compounded with a word which has the same adhikarana. So this could also be a Visheshana and Visheshana, or it could be a Visheshana and Visheshya. And let's see how it unfolds. So, one second. I'm just bringing my diary.
So if we were just saying the sutras, this sutra doesn't say Shamarama, so we would have to remember the order from the previous sutra long back. What order was the compounds in? Like it's not even in the vritti, the word Shamarama.
Yeah. Actually, it's saying 9:20, so it's maybe the next sutra.
Oh, I see. It's
9:26.
I see. I see. So we would just say a few sutras and then come to Shamarama.
One second. Yeah, so looks like continuation of or series of sutras. So let's proceed and see. So Visheshanam Tulyadhikaranena. Visheshana is compounded with a word and with the same adhikarana, and the compound so formed is called Shyam Ram. So now moving on. This sutra means Tulyadhikaranena saha Visheshanam samasyate. A Visheshana is compounded with a word which has the same adhikarana. We had discussed earlier what is Tulya adhikarana or Samana adhikarana. Basically, let's say if there are two words, if I say Shyam Ram itself, like green, Shyam refers to green, Rama is the person Rama. So it's the same person in whom the Shyamatva is there and the Ramatva is there. So Shyamatva is the quality, the color, green. So the green color, the Shyamatva, and the person who bears the name Rama. So that's also the same entity, the same person. So that's the same adhikarana, the same adhar. So adhikarana is like adhar. Like my study table now, it's adhar for this computer, my mobile phone, and a pen here, a diary. So all of these items my pen, diary, phone, computer, they all will be called Samanadikarana, Tulyadikarana, because they are all sharing or based on the same Adhar, the, that's the table, the study table. So in this way, um, the explanations of all the other sutras should be made in the same way. Oh, Krishna. This sutra means Tulyadikaranena Visheshena Saha Visheshanam Tulyadikaranam Samasyate. A Tulyadhikarana Visheshana is compounded with the Tulyadhikarana Visheshya. Hmm. Tulyadhikarana Visheshena Visheshanam Tulyadhikaranam Samasyate. So a Tulyadhikarana Visheshana is compounded with a Tulyadhikarana Visheshya. So Visheshya and Visheshana, a noun and its modifier. So a proper noun is a Visheshya and the modifier is the Visheshana. So the definitions of the Visheshya, main noun, and Visheshana, the adjective, the modifier, were were given previously in the sutra. Jati guna kriya twara yasya vishesha kathate tad visheshanam yena yena tad vishesha kathate tad visheshanam. Even though the word tulyadhikarana can refer to both the vishesha and visheshana, still by the process of elimination, um, it only refers to the Visheshya here because the Visheshana will be specifically mentioned in the future sutra. Kvachit Visheshanena cha Visheshanam Samasyate. Okay. So, when it says, when the sutra says Visheshanam Tulyadhikaranena, so this Tulyadhikaranena actually refers to Visheshyena. So basically Visheshana compounding with the Visheshya. So this Tulyadhikarana is basically referring to the Visheshya, the main noun, and with whom the Visheshana gets compounded. Amrita explains. Because a Visheshana compounding with another Visheshana, so that's a separate sutra mentioned ahead, 925. Kvachit Visheshane na cha Visheshanam Samasyate. So, Sankshodhani, this sutra is Jiva Goswami's equivalent to the Paninian Sutra, Visheshanam Visheshyena Bahulam. See, Panini says Visheshyena. Thus, the understanding of the sutra is that a Visheshana is compounded with a Visheshya if both of them have the same Adhikarana. These are all important details because Samasa is very like deep and very broad subject. So another proof that the word Tulyadhikaranena here refers to the Visheshya is that Jiva Goswami ends this section with the words Tadevam Visheshena Visheshanasya Samasa Uktaha. The Samasa of a Visheshana with a Visheshya has been described there. So basically the point being raised here is that the word Tulyadhikaranena in the sutra refers to Visheshyena. So basically Visheshana Visheshyena, samas between Visheshana and Visheshyena. For example, so there's the understanding. Yeah. For example, in the example Shyamo Ramaha, green Rama, the quality of being green resides in the same object that the quality of being one whose name is Rama resides in, right? The quality of being green and the quality of like one whose name is Rama. The person, yeah. So thus the Visheshana and the Visheshya have the same Adhikarana since the qualities expressed by them reside in the same object, namely the person called Rama. Thus, actually, and it could be actually more than one Visheshana also. It could be two Visheshanas and a Visheshya together. Like that, it's possible. For example, like many times in commentaries, when especially when a description of some great personality is given or the Lord Himself is given, then they will give many Visheshanas in a samasa, and then they will end up with the main uh, like the main noun. So that's also there. More than one Visheshana could be there. Thus, the Visheshana takes the same Vishnu Bhakti as the Visheshya by Sutra 219, but as regards Krishnasya Bhaktaha, Okay, this is the quality of being whose name is Krishna and the quality of being a devotee. Now here this is explaining what is not a tulya adhikarana, what is not a saman adhikarana. So, but as regards related to this example, Krishna se bhaktaha. So the person Krishna, whose name is Krishna, so the quality of being one, whose name is Krishna, and the quality of being a devotee reside in two different objects. So this is a different. So this here they don't share a saman adhikarana. So namely the person called the Krishna. Thus the Visheshana is Vyadhikarana in relation to the Visheshya, and therefore it takes a different Vishnu Bhakti. So basically in the example Krishna se bhaktaha, um, they are interrelated of course, but they are not samanadhikarana, not tulyadhikarana. If it was, let's say if it was something like Krishna bhaktaha, Krishna the devotee, right? Krishna bhakta, Krishna the devotee. Let's say some person called Krishna and he is the devotee himself. So in that example, it would be a right example of a Visheshana and Visheshya. Okay, so this was Visheshana with a Visheshya. Pitambarat prak samasa Krishna Purusha Sangya. The samasas up to Pitambara are called Krishna Purusha, Purusha, Krishna Purusha Samasa. So, so when it says up to, so here it says, but not including Pitambara. So here, this sutra is both a Sangya Sutra and an Adhikarana Sutra. So, in the opinion of some earlier grammarians, there are four kind of compounds. So we do study about six types of compounds, but there are the four which are the main, and so they are the Tatpurusha Samas, which is Uttar Pada Pradhan, a compound in which the last word is the main thing. Um, the Avyayi Bhava Samas, which is Purva Pada Pradhan, in which the first word is the main thing. So we have discussed that in a compound, in a samas, there are two words, like in a samasa. The first word is called Purva Pada, and the second is called the Uttara Pada. So the third example says the Bandhu Samas, which is Ubhaya Pada Pradhan, in which both words are the main thing. And the fourth one is the Bahu Vrihi Samas, so in which is Anya Pada Pradhan, in regard to which another word, the noun of which the Bahuvrihi is an adjective is the meaning. So, Anya Pada Pradhan, in regard to which another word is the main thing. The Dvigu and the Karma Dharaya are included in the category of Tatpurusha because they generally have the nature of being Uttara Pada Pradhan. Uttara Pada Pradhan. So, this is important that the Dvigu Samas and the Karma Dharaya Samas, uh, so they are in the category of Tatpurusha Samas, because they also have the nature of being Uttara Pada Pradhan. So Dvigu and Karmadhara. So Dvigu is Tri Rami in Harinama Amrita Vyakaranam, and Karmadharaya is the Shyam Ram Samas. So Shyam Ram and the Tri Rami Samas are, they lie under the category of Krishna Purusha Samas. What is described here is simply the great general nature of these compounds, because it will be described how even though the compounds formed by Prapta Panne Dvitiyaya and Atyadayo Dvitiyaya are Tat Purushas, they are Purvapada Pradhanas. Hmm. But it should be known that this is an exception made on the basis of the type of meaning. So basically, it's just like these are the general explanations, the understandings, but there are also exceptional understandings or usages, mm, or categories introduced or involved in these kinds of samasas. Of the types of compound samasas, Krishna says he's the Ramakrishna samas. Dvandvah samasikasya cha in Gita. Baldev Vidyabhushan comments that this compound is superior because both words have equal importance. The Dvandva samas. So Krishna is the Ramakrishna samas. Hmm. Now, um, yeah, so this category, now we are discussing the Krishna Purusha samasas, in which Dvigu samas, which is Trirami, and Sham Ram, which is Karmadharaya, they are also included in Krishna Purusha. So now the title we are studying is the Krishna Purusha samasa, under which we are also studying Sham Ram. Now this is Karmadharaya Sham Ram samasa, and then Dvigu will follow. Triram will. Among the Teshu means amongst all the samasas, or among the Krishna Purusha samasas, the samasa described in Sutra 920 is called Shamram. So that Visheshanam Tulyadikaranena, that one. So that's the Shamram samasa. The earlier grammarians called it mm, Karmadharaya. When we have the Vigraha, Shamash Ramascha. He is green and he is Rama, or Ramash Shamashta, he is Ram and he is green. Only the word Shamaha is placed first uh, in the compound, because in Sutra 920 only the Visheshana is placed first because it ends in the Pratama Vishnu Bhakti. The meaning of the word Cha is expressed by the compound itself, and so the word Cha is left out of the compound in accordance with the maxim Uktarthanam Aprayogaha. So words whose sense has already been expressed are not employed. Uktanam, Uktarthanam Aprayogaha. This is nice. Uktar Aprayoga. So this is hmm. Even this Uktarthanam Aprayoga, which means that words whose sense has already been expressed are not employed. So this also happens in in the scriptures also, like many verses we see. Uh, so many times we see that there, like, there are not certain elements which are not actually used or inserted in a shloka, in a prose or something, because that's very obvious that they are understood, that they are understood. For example, if I say, uh, I say, let's say, uh, acha, hey Prabhu, let's say if I write a sentence here, hey Prabhu, um, hey Prabhu, Krishnam Pashya. Hey Prabhu, Krishnam Pashya. Oh Prabhu, please see Krishna, like behold Krishna or see Krishna. Now here, Pashya is 2.1, right? From the Vidhatri Parapada. So Pashya, naturally it involves in, like it says Tvam, the sense of Tvam. Tvam Krishnam Pashya, right? Tvam Krishna Pashya. But even if we don't say Tvam, just by the word Pashya, the verb Pashya, it's obvious and it's understood that it's referring to a Madhyama Purusha, second person, and Tvam is intended. So Uktarthanam Aprayogaha. The words whose sense has already been expressed are not employed. So this is one example, like a very basic. Antaranga Swadir Mahahara Ekpadatvarambhe is applied, and then Namantaratva Praptya Samastat Punah Swadayah. The swadis are applied again after the resultant compound word, since it is a separate new nama. So what happens when we have two words like Shamaha and Ramaha, both one? So when we are combining them, so the very first thing it says here about the sequence, that the Visheshana, which is in the Prathama Bhakti, Visheshanam Tulyadikaranena. So Visheshanam is the Prathama there in the Sutra 920. So that Visheshana will come first as the Purvapada. So Shama, which is the Visheshana, comes as the Purvapada, and then we put Ramaha, and after that we apply the 601 Antaranga Swadir Mahahara Ekpadatvarambe. That when we are starting to make the Samasa, the process of declining and it into Samasa, then Antaranga Swadir Mahahara, we remove or delete the Swadi Vibhakti of actually it says Antaranga, but here it shows of both. So yeah, but Antaranga means of the inside words, the the Swadi Vibhakti is removed. So we remove the Swadi Vibhakti when beginning to do the Samasa, and then we get the Shyam Ram. So now it's a compound. So Namantaratva Praptya. Now this maxim explains that once after compounding, after the compound word we get, um, we then apply the the Swadi Vibhaktis again, Swaujas, because the new compound is a separate Vishnu Pada. Oh, sorry, not a Vishnu Pada. It's a Pratipadikam. It's a new word in itself now. The Samasa. So Shyam Rama plus Su, and then we decline. So Shyam Rama, Ramu Rama, and so on. It will go on like this is the Samasa. In this regard, the word Shyamaha, which means green, is a Visheshana because it describes a distinguishing feature and thus excludes the other two Ramas whose colors are different. The condition of being Tulyadikarana is fulfilled here because the quality of being green resides in the same object that the quality of being one whose name is resides in, whose name is Rama resides in. But the condition of being Tulyadikarana is missing in cases like Krishnasya Purushaha, Krishna's man, and so on. Because even though the words Krishna and so on are Visheshanas, they are Vyadhikarana. See, this Shyam Rama Samasa lie in this section or category of Krishna Purusha Samasa, but there is a very clear distinction between the two. In Shyam Rama Samasa, it's Visheshana and Visheshya, the Tulyadhikarana. But in Krishna Purusha Samasa, it's not Tulyadhikarana, it's Vyadhikarana. Like Krishna Purusha, this Krishna Purusha example. In this regard, it is said that Samanadhikaranya, the condition of being Samanadhikarana or Tulyadhikarana, is the existence of two different pravritti nimittas in one object. Some grammatical uh, term here, pravritti nimittas. So that's as explained in Amrita below, by Amrita below, a pravritti nimitta is that which is referred to by the use of a word. In Vritti 1199, Jiva Goswami makes it clear that a pravritti nimitta is either a jati, guna, or a kriya. In this case, the two gunas, shamatva, being green, and rama sangyatva, being one whose name is Rama, both reside in the same object, namely the son of Dashratha. Thus, the words Shama and Rama have the same adhikarana. So, yeah. In the same way, we get words like Parama Purushaha. So Paramaschaso Purushas Cheti. the Supreme Person. Yeah, even I think even my name, like Param Sundar, it more sounds like Visheshan and Visheshana, but still, even this Parama Purusha, this Purusha, depends on the context actually, whether we have to consider this Purusha as a Visheshan or as a Vishesha. If let's say the shloka says Parama Purusha space Krishna. So Krishna, who's Parama Purusha, then Krishna is the main noun and Parama Purusha stands as the Visheshana altogether. And in that Visheshana, both of these words are separately the Visheshanas. That he's Parama and he's Purusha. But if nothing is given, this Parama Purusha is there, then Purusha will be considered as Visheshya and Parama as Visheshana. So contextually, we have to see and consider. Yeah, so that's Parama Purusha. One more example. Then, when we have San Purusha, the Su which has already undergone Hara due to coming after word, uh, which ends in Krit Pratyaya Shatri. So, and there's no and the deletion of final one of Satsanga and are undergone. So we get Sat Purusha. So now this San Purusha, two words, both one, 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 one. When Samasa is done, we get Sat Purusha, Sat Purusha, and so on. Yeah. Other examples are Eka Vaishnavaha. So Ekah Vaishnavaha iti Eka Vaishnavaha. Purana Vaishnavaha and Old Vaishnava, Kevala Vaishnavaha ityadi. So all these are the same Shyama Rama Samasa. Visheshanam Tulyadikaranena. But in Shyamo Ramo Mahan, green Ram is great. Samasa cannot be done because there is dependence on another word. In this way, there is an option of Vigraha or Samasa. So when this is the so some another word is there like Mahan, so Samasa is not done. Okay, we'll stop here. This is really detailed and interesting. Samasas are interesting actually. So and yeah, we'll resume the next class. So there are four main kinds of samasas: Avyayibhava, Tatpurusha, Bahuvrihi, and Dvandva. So Dvigu and Karmadharaya, they fall into the category of Tatpurusha. Basically, Trirami and Shamram fall under the category of Krishna Purusha Samasa. Because all of them, they are Uttarapada Pradhan Samasas. And then we read one sutra today, Visheshana Tulyadikaranena. A Visheshana is compounded with the Visheshya, and that's the Shamaram Samasa. And Visheshana comes first, the Purvapada. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll resume the next in the next. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Dandavad Pranam.